Texas Senator Ted Cruz is a Republican and our guest tonight. Senator, good to see you. What's it like to be the most hated man in America?
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Welcome back to the show. Congratulations. Holy moly. Number
so
170 countries. Oh, my goodness.
Yes, thank
You're
you
having
so
a good day today.
I am, besides the fact that I'm catching pneumonia in your studio right now.
It's very cold, but you have to wear clothes when you come on here. That's how you
I
get warmer.
asked if I could bring a blanket, and they looked at me like I was crazy, but I was ready to sit there
Probably
and
get you a blanket.
do the interview.
Cozy up.
Next, news, entertainment, etc. Tonight with Jonathan D. Sangster.
And this is Next with Jonathan D. Sangster. I'm your producer, Taylor. And sorry for the delay there, folks. We had some minor technical stuff. It helps if I hit the right button. I'm having button issues tonight. But hopefully that won't be an issue now. So, Jonathan, since it's your show, and too bad they missed the first 5 minutes of our conversation, but Jonathan, back to you.
Good evening, everyone, and good to be on tonight. Welcome to Next. We were talking about how the EU, or Ukraine, how the protests are still going in the Ukraine because the president is going back again on his word to sign with the EU and is making a trip to Moscow this week. And the opposition has told him, don't bother coming back if you sign it. There's been major threats against him now, actually, too. Not just political, but on his life, because he's being branded a traitor by a majority of the Ukrainian population. And I was actually spurred on today by one of our favorite senators. John McCain was in Kiev, Independence Square, and speaking to the protesters, telling them they were in the right and that the U.S. supports their cause, which is a good cause. The Ukraine staying independent or semi-independent under the EU versus losing complete freedom under the attempt to rebuild the Soviet Union.
Yeah, occasionally McCain does get it right, and this is one of those situations where he has gotten it right.
Yeah, unlike Syria.
Yeah.
Or, hey, let's back the rebels. I'm meeting with people that are part of Al-Qaeda. Oops, didn't happen. Oh, crap, there's a picture.
Yeah.
Like, damn those pictures. They weren't around when McCain was a young kid. But, yeah, this situation in Ukraine is getting all the more serious once again just because the president just keeps going back on them. They're saying that today there were as many as 200,000 people in Independence Square to listen
that's
to
awesome.
Their leaders and McCain joining the leaders. But it's, the Ukrainians are just all the more, every time the president turns, he's losing people all the more. And I don't see him staying in office one way or the other. The people won't accept them, and they've shown this last week they're more powerful than the police. The police cannot move them out of that square. They've tried.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not a bad I hope that it works. I really hope it works, that they're able to keep them out of they're able to overthrow this guy or do legit elections and get the guy out. I'd prefer it that way, but that's just me.
Pretty sure he's going to have to be forcibly resigned, and then they'll have elections. Because even if he signs the EU deal, they will not respect him as president. He won't last long. At least in my opinion.
Yeah. And we have to be careful. The boss just logged onto Skype.
Oh. Which boss? CIA, NSA,
No,
FBI.
the boss being Liz.
Yeah.
Hi, Liz. Sorry we screwed up early.
It's all good. At least it's at the beginning of the show, not the middle. Hey, you filled in one time when it went down in the middle, and
Yeah.
it ended up more your show than anything.
Hey, you know something? It happens, folks. Live radio. It happens. What is the solution, Jonathan? And me, because I'm very solution oriented. Is it totally just saying, hey, you know, we need to overthrow this guy, or is there another way to do it?
I mean, it's not like I don't think there's gonna be like a revolution, because at some point the police, unless they throw the military at the people, they're just not gonna be able to move them. And at some point, the rest of the government's gonna have to go. Even the president's party, not the opposition, is gonna have to go. There is no ruling the people with him as president. I mean, they'll start going. I just don't see it where a future of him as president in Ukraine. People just will not accept him now. If he had this last week, when he backed down and said he was going to go ahead and get back to the EU, even confirming it with the EU, had he done it then, he may have been able to be forgiven. But going back on again and now going to talk to Russia again, it's just, I think it's, you know, he lost his 1 second chance.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Unless he goes to Russia and slaps Putin across the face or something, they're not going to welcome him back to Ukraine very peacefully.
Yes.
I mean, which if he does that, okay.
He might win some stuff,
for
but
balls, but yeah, I don't see much in at least his political future. I don't see a survival for him.
yeah, and you know that's a big question that's got to be figured out. I think it was great that they actually knocked down the
Statue of Lenin.
Yeah, the statue of Lenin. I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, kind of made me, you know, why was it still there? But yeah, that was a big thing, and that's when the police started getting actively involved in trying to stop the protesters, and they were completely ineffective. I mean, it took them 3 attempts to even take down the barricades around the protesters, and every time you had thousands more protesters showing up as soon as they heard the police were on the way. The police cannot stop it. And I don't think the rest of the Ukrainian government would support the president calling in the military. And that's the only way has a hope of getting the people to stop, at least for a couple hours. I mean, not when you have 200,000 people willing to go out in the freezing cold on a Sunday just to protest against him and listen to people speak against him. I mean, that's a lot of people for just, you know, for that kind of thing.
Yeah, and you know, I think that's a good thing. And you know, the other thing that it shows, and maybe it shows how fortunate we are here in the U.S., that we haven't, you know, outside of some of the Occupy stuff and the L.A. riots, everything's been pretty quiet, especially when we've had you know, protests and stuff like that.
Yeah, we don't have statues to tear down that much, but Occupy.
I'm okay with that.
They're tearing them down. They've just shot upon them. But...
No, the problem with some of the statues that we have here is that sometimes they just get defaced with like graffiti and stuff like that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, yeah, but yeah, it's definitely a different thing. I mean, and for the most part, our protests have either been the Occupy, where we're protesting the stuff we love while carrying, you know, protesting corporations while wearing Nike, carrying Apple, and drinking Starbucks. versus the Tea Party protests that were very peaceful and orderly. And so, I mean, we've had the protests, just nothing to this scale and anger about it, really.
Yeah. No, I think that, again, that shows how fortunate we are. That culture of, okay, something bad happens, we have to riot, hasn't really come into the U.S.
No.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah, it definitely is a good thing. I mean, and the Ukrainians, for the most part, it's not been a riot. It's been pretty peaceful. I mean, tearing down the statue was about as violent as it's gotten, and fighting the police. But, I mean, they didn't go out of their way to fight the police. It was it wasn't necessarily self-defense, but it was defense of their protest. The police were coming in with batons and very heavy steel shields and hitting them with it. So there's a point where you go, do I just take this or do I hit back? And that they hit back and the police stopped trying, which is definite win for the protesters.
Yeah, and I hope it never gets to this, that there's never, that something doesn't happen like that. Because, see, that is, for lack of a better term, that's not a good thing.
No, it shows definitely bad things going on in the country when it has to go to that level. But in this case, I definitely, the Ukrainian people, I definitely think are right in what they're doing.
Yeah, I think so too. I have no problem with them, doing this and making sure that, and protesting against this sort of thing. I think it's important that they do that.
Yes, definitely, and it's good that they are doing it and that they're keep doing it until, I mean, they've got very good reasons for doing it, for not wanting to fall under Russian sway again. They've been there under the Soviet Empire.
Been there, done that.
Yeah, they don't want to go back, and maybe the president appears to want to, and so the people are going, hell no.
Why do you think that? Is it just power? Is it just seeing that, just how strong Putin is right now? You think that's why this guy's looking at it?
It's hard to tell his motives, because, he was elected, and people really thought he was going to go, and he all the way was talking about joining the EU. And so it's, and Putin's not exactly that much more powerful, now than he was over the couple years ago. But it's, this guy, for whatever reason, changed his mind, or he ran the whole time lying, which isn't necessarily shocking for a politician, but that big of a blatant lie is kind of really obvious, and it's not paying off for him.
Yeah.
That's the case.
Yeah. Well, that's that's a big question about whether whether that's a good idea or not, and of course whether this guy lied or just power corrupts. Absolutely.
Yep. Or something, he got in office and something changed. Yeah, it's very possible. Or he got in office and he started getting some money from somewhere, possibly. Who knows? We don't know. At this point, we don't know. But
you would think that just the pull of Putin here is something that is tough to kind of get around.
Maybe, yeah. We know how powerful it is, but when you're next door, it's another story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and who knows what's behind it? Really, we can guess, but ultimately, it was the president's either, like I said,